So you are a yoga instructor and a self-care advocate. Tell us a little bit about how that journey started and what piqued your interest.
So I started off as a recreational therapist. I don't know if you ever heard of that.
Tell us a little bit about that.
So a recreational therapist pretty much has a background in mental health. We as a therapist, we assess our patients, our clients, and we analyze whatever they're dealing with, whatever they're going through, whether it's depression or anxiety or addiction. And we evaluate the situation, how they're speaking about themselves, how they're feeling, because when someone is dealing with a mental illness, sometimes other areas lack, like maybe their ADLs, like their everyday activities of daily life, like brushing their teeth, doing their hair, and then depending on if they're dealing with maybe or experiencing some type of disorder to where maybe they're missing a limb or so. Me as a therapist, I would come in and I would have a group with them to kind of teach them how they can go about continuing after having the mental illness, after having the disorder.
Right.
And I would pull those things out of them, like if they love to dance, if they love to sing, just whatever they enjoy. I would be the one that kind of tap in and say, well, hey, you can still enjoy those things, especially when it comes to things like addiction too. Showing them how that they can enjoy some of the same things without using.
Okay.
So recreational therapists, we just kind of recreate. We help them do the things that they love to do. So that's how I met yoga. As a recreational therapist, I was working in a hospital, and one of the requirements were for me to be certified in yoga.
Okay.
And I was like, oh God, I never really had heard about yoga and what it was. I knew it was an exercise, but I was kind of like, okay.
Yeah.
And I went because it was required, and it was like intense. Like the training was so intense. It was a 200-hour training.
Whoa.
Yes. And we literally were with a group of people from pretty much, you could say, sun up to sundown.
Wow.
And it was over like weeks of time. And just going through that and seeing what we had to do and what we had to learn, I was like, I can't do this. I'm not flexible. All the things that people think. I'm not flexible. I'm not in shape. Those things. But it was a really beautiful experience. Long story short, at the end, I felt really great about it. I didn't feel quite confident to teach just yet.
Okay.
But that kind of went out the window because as soon as I got back to work, they were like, okay, we're scheduled for a class. So it's the best thing that my teacher... shout out to Lex Gillian. He taught us in our certification class. These people don't know that you just finished a certification class.
Right.
You have to have the confidence in yourself to say, okay, well, I know what I learned, and you practice as you go. So even as an instructor, you're still learning. You're forever learning as a yoga instructor. But we're all forever learning in life. So he just said, you continue to practice, but you also teach. You have that confidence, and you just go with it. And that's what I did. And nobody ever knew. They were just like, oh my God, I enjoyed it so much. And I was like, it gave me the confidence I needed to continue. After a while, I kind of was like, I don't know if I want to, when you work in a hospital, you can't really touch or modify or help them.
Okay, that was,
Yeah, so it was a little more restricted. So I did yoga outside of the hospital and fell in love, and I've been going ever since. So that's how I found yoga.
Yeah. And
I found that I really, really like freelancing, being able to teach in different venues and different elements. So I really enjoy that. And as far as self-care, being a self-care advocate, I found that yoga is my happy place. It keeps me calm. It keeps me sane. So and I realized how much is a benefit. And so I wanted to give that to my community.
Beautiful.
Because they know nothing about it. And I thought about it. I said, well, we're teaching yoga in a hospital.
Right.
And they're it's a benefit to them.
Mm-hmm.
They know it's a healing benefit. So then I need to give this to my community, my underserved communities, to be able to say, hey, you have this, if you're dealing with any type of anxiety, depression, or whatever, this can help with that.
Right.
So that's kind of how I got into that. So offering yoga as a therapeutic service of self-care,
Beautiful.
and healing. So